So Kwite has finally come out with a response to the allegations that came out about him recently. Now, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a complete breakdown of how Kwite basically cleared his entire name. So if you don't know who Kwite is, he's a pretty major commentary channel here in the space. He's been making videos for a few years, and you know, a lot of people like him. He has like over 1 million subscribers, so he's one of the biggest commentary channels that's still doing YouTube. And just recently, there was this Twitter user called Orion that came out with some very serious allegations about Kwite. You know, he was saying pretty much that he was manipulating and abusing this Orion person, and that Kwite had allegedly assaulted them in a very disturbing way. And this was a very major accusation. I mean, over on Twitter, it got like 100,000 likes, and it's been seen by like 11 million people. And obviously, you know what, Kwite pretty much got canceled over the next 24 hours. He lost like 50,000 subscribers, and over on Twitter, people were calling, you know, begging him for a response and pretty much demonizing him, because obviously with major accusations like this, it's guilty until proven innocent, unfortunately. And that's exactly what happened to Kwite. And you know what, it took Kwite a few days to even mention the accusation, which is one of the reasons people were thinking it might have actually been true. You know, these accusations, he was just staying quiet on it, and that might have been a reason that he was guilty, I suppose. But over on his Discord, he posted that he was making a video and it would just be a couple days because he wanted to get everything in order, which is 100% the right option. And then Kwite just the other day made a full response that was over an hour and a half long, and he came with receipts. I mean, Kwite really pretty much dismantled every single thing Orion was saying. It was actually kind of crazy how terrible this made Orion seem. Only 18% of the people watching this video right now are actually subscribed to the channel. Don't be part of the 81%. Subscribe to the channel. You have nothing to lose. This is a big learning lesson for a lot of people in the commentary, and not only commentary but the internet space, is that, you know what, you should always get two sides of a story before you believe one of the sides. And I understand over the last couple of years, you know, people have been doing the believe the victim stuff, and I understand why, you know, especially over in Hollywood and such. But you know what, this is just another instance of false accusations, and it's, you know, it's trying to ruin people's lives. And you know, in Kwite's response, we're gonna go over the entire thing, but he even, you know, he did a face reveal, and he said he didn't want to do a face reveal, but Orion, you know, with these accusations forced him to get personal. And because this was such a bad impact on him, he might actually quit YouTube forever. I mean, he has 1 million subscribers. This is his full-time job, and this was such a negative experience for this poor guy that he might just leave the internet. And honestly, can anyone really blame him if he did leave the internet? I mean, if you think back to just a couple of years ago, Slazo, if you don't know who that is, it was another commentary creator that had similar false accusations, and the exact same thing happened to him. You know what, he got these false accusations against him, and he, you know, he lost a bunch of subscribers, and he lost, you know, a bunch of people who tried to cancel him, just for it to come out where, you know, he made an entire breakdown on why he was innocent, and he, you know, he pretty much proved, you know, his innocence. And you know what, people will always have a bad view of Slazo, unfortunately, because, you know, these accusations are the first thing that comes to mind when you think of his name.
My abuser took advantage of the aggressively sympathetic and viral way the internet typically reacts to rape allegations to continue tormenting me. A lot of people have brought up the Slazo situation from back in 2019 during this whole thing, saying that it's ironic I was part of pushing those allegations and now I'm suffering my own, like it's karma coming around. And I mean, on some level, I can't really say they're wrong. It's because I saw Slazo as a friend that how I handled those allegations wasn't good enough. I failed him as a friend by believing what I saw wholesale and not doing the bare minimum of what he deserved, by not even waiting for him to give his side before making a judgment. An event that has now echoed itself in my life. I have felt guilty that he suffered like that, at least in part because of my negligence ever since, and now I can directly relate to him after going through all this shit. I feel like I owe that guy a third apology.
And unfortunately, I definitely think the same thing is going to happen to Kwite. Like I mentioned, on the original tweet from Orion that was accusing Kwite of some very, you know, the serious allegations, it has like 12 million impressions. That's 12 million people that, you know what, might not see Kwite's reply and just automatically think that, hey, this guy is a, you know, he's a piece of shit. And you know, I really feel terrible for this guy. Now let's go over Kwite's response. It was a very long video, and I definitely think if you care about the commentary community at all, that you should just sit down and try to watch the entire video. I know it's an hour and a half long, but I think think this is super important for, you know, future accusations, because I'm not saying you shouldn't believe accusations, you know, especially serious ones with quote-unquote proof, but I definitely think this is going to make people a little more skeptical in the future, especially when apparently after Kwite's response, Orion, the person who made the accusations, went on Twitter with quote-unquote extra proof, and it was a doctor's note saying that apparently Orion suffered from an assault back in 2018, which was allegedly, you know, their proof. And then it turns out a lot of people were noticing that there were a ton of spelling errors and just normal errors in this doctor note. So it's very likely that this person that made the accusations against Kwite actually made a fake doctor's note to try to vindicate themselves, which is actually just insane. And you know what, as much as I don't like Orion right now, I definitely hope Orion gets help, because this is not normal behavior. And I don't know, it's just I hate to see it, you know, because obviously I don't feel sympathy for Orion, but there's obviously something very wrong with this person and they need help. I guess I kind of feel empathetic. But yeah, in the entire video breakdown, Kwite pretty much breaks down how almost everything they're saying is just a load of crap. I mean, I'll show a couple clips. And I think one of the biggest parts about this is that there was an interview from about 4 years ago after this, you know, just a couple days after this alleged assault happened. And here's Orion talking about it.
Cut to February, where we met up for the second time. And I remember it was February because we went to see Black Panther. It was fun, and I distinctly remember him getting out of my car, but stopping midway and saying, "Just remember, I really care about you," and then closing the door, which made me feel really good because, you know, this was my best friend. We had met up for the second time. He still cares about me.
Now, does this seem like a clip of someone that, you know, was quote-unquote assaulted? I think that's one of the biggest things. And don't get me wrong, I understand maybe someone could come to a realization later in life, but no one held a gun to Orion's head and, you know, made them say that, you know, they had a good time after, you know, these allegations allegedly happened. I mean, no one was forcing Orion to say this, but a couple years later, that's exactly what happened. And then Kwite also said that, you know, apparently Orion linked up with a bunch of people that also didn't like Kwite after Kwite pretty much cut them off, you know, stopped wanting to be friends with them, and, you know, continued to try to pretty much ruin his online career, which is just really obsessive behavior. And I feel so bad for Kwite, because, you know what, I originally didn't report on these allegations because I wanted to see his side before I made a video about it. And even in the one video I made about potential allegations, was that one YouTuber, the Boy in the Band thing. And in that video, I multiple said that, you know what, these are just allegations and Boy in the Band has not replied. And if he did make a reply, I would make another video on it. And I think that's a very important thing, because when allegations like this come out, you need to see both sides of the story, because things like the Kwite story, things like the Slazo situation are going to continue to happen, unfortunately, because, you know, I guess it's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing that we live in a society that takes these kind of situations so seriously, but it's also bad because terrible people like Orion, you know, abuse people's empathy to try to, I don't know, to try to destroy people like Kwite's life. But that's just my thoughts. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. The other day we made a video about how EDP has officially hit rock bottom, and he's actually, you know what, he's actually selling his YouTube play button. This is a video breakdown you're not going to want to miss. Click here to watch it now.